Well, welcome to Hamilton County TV. I'm Perry Williams, and today we got Noblesville head football coach, Coach Sharpe. How are you today?
I'm great, Perry. Good to see you as always.
Well, it's good to be here. A good time because we're coming off a win, which is a very good thing, and especially to have a good season, you got to take them one at a time, and we got the first win. So
Yeah.
let's talk a little bit about that game, because there was a lot of positive things that came out of that. A lot of things I'm sure that that we still have to work on, because it's a work in progress.
Yeah.
But there was some positive things that come out in that football game.
Yeah, you know, the logistics of the week were a little goofy with playing in the dome and then playing such a late start, you know, and tipping off at 8:30 or so. But our kids adapted really well. We had to constantly remind them, like, it's a 100-yard field. It's the same dimensions. There's going to be 22 people on the field at the same time. Just ignore the big horseshoe in the middle of the field. Ignore the gigantic dimensions of Lucas Oil, and just play some ball. And for the most part, we did. We were not too starstruck, or not too the moment wasn't too big for us, I don't think. But when we finally got to run our first play of the season, I've never seen such a crazy first play.
Yes.
In any game, let alone the first play of the season in Lucas Oil. So, but Blake Widgett's one of our favorite Millers. He's just been like when I met him as a freshman, I was like, man, he's going to be something. And so we were very confident giving Blake the ball in the first snap of the game, and he goes all the way down to about the 5 or 6 yard line, and then he's injured, but he's doing a little bit better right now. So it was just a crazy play. But our defense responded. It's really hard to go into the dome and just sit around and wait, and then you finally get to play, and it's like, there goes Blake. He's going to score, or he's going to get down to the 5 yard line, and then it's their ball. So we had to try to, on the spot, fire up our defense. Our defense is kind of like, wait, what happened? Was it a touchdown? Is it our ball on the 1? And we're like, no, it's touchback. Like, what? Why? What's the, some of the kids were like, wait, what are the rules? And I'm like, don't worry about the rules. Just go. It's, sudden change. So happy how we responded defensively, because that was our best defensive sequence, was forcing that 3 and out right after the fumble, and then forcing a punt, and then we're able to go on a nice Miller drive, feed in the backs, Bryce Englert and Sidney Weaver, and they did a nice job of filling in for Blake Widgett there at that halfback spot. But we're able to get Gabe Bellin had just plowed through and took a power all the way to the end zone from about 20 yards out to give us a nice lead. Now the next drive, when it was 7-0 and we kicked off to them, they really executed, and this is what we're trying to get to the kids. It's like, it doesn't matter how hard you work, there's going to be some plays that they make great plays, and they out-executed us a couple of times. Like they converted a 3rd and 8, and then they converted a 4th and 2 where we miss a tackle. Then we drop an interception, then we get to a 4th and 15. Like, we're doing everything right. We're getting them into 3rd and 8s, getting them into 4th and shorts, and then we get them into a 4th and 15. And that Ertl's such a good scrambler, and when he scrambles, he's looking one way, and the last second looks off, and they get a vertical in the end zone. So it was tough. Our kids were they were a little deflated after that, and then they go for 2, and we were very upset. We practiced all week. They have so many little gizmos and gadgets for the 2-point conversions that they've always used, and their swing and gate type stuff, and we just weren't excited to play after a touchdown. That's the one thing that we drove home to them. So we gave them some late touchdowns. Our body language during a long drive on defense has to change, because it was downright disgusting. Just like the woe is me, I'm doing my job, but we gave up a long pass. That stuff's got stopped. And then that kind of led to some dumb penalties late in the 4th quarter. Like, we kind of lost our cool a little bit. But we have to know that it's so hard to simulate week 1. You practice all year long, but you don't really practice for 2 hours and 45 minutes, and then with all that raw emotion just going constantly, it's hard to simulate that. So we needed to see that. But
I think the one thing, talking about that first quarter, and Widgett taking it all the way down there, you think, well, we're going to score right then, and injury, fumble happened, but then when they drove down the field and they scored, I'm sure that you were not happy about having to call a timeout, because I know that Mount Vernon's done that for several years
Yeah.
on that play on the extra point. So
That's very important, and first half timeouts are not nearly as valuable as second half timeouts.
Oh, absolutely,
in our
absolutely.
opinion. So we were, that's such a valuable point. So yeah, we're never afraid to call first quarter timeouts if something just seems a little fishy or we feel like we're slightly out of position. So
Yeah.
especially defensively. But we responded very well. They tried an onside kick, which we recovered, and then we were able to punch in another one to take the lead, and then from there the defense played really well to finish out the first half. Just a great effort we rotated in so many players. I mean, we played 8 defensive backs. We rotated in, I think, 5 linebackers total, and then D-line, I believe we played 6 guys total. So it was a lot of you're in for 3 plays, then I got you for 3 plays, and we're kind of showcasing our depth. And all these guys, defensively, they deserve to play. They need to play because they are 6A varsity football players, and I was really happy with our coaches, assistant coaches, the way that we substituted in, especially defensively.
yeah, and these 2 non-conference games, I think also that's where you got to start building your depth, anyways, because you got to give kids playing time, and what a better opportunity. And then it doesn't get any bigger than Lucas Oil playing down there where the Colts play and in a young man's mind. So that had to be a very good momentum thing and a very good thing for the team for everyone, so many people to get to play on Friday night.
Right. Yeah. So it was good, and offensively we played pretty well in the first half. It was our second touchdown. We had a chance to get Aiden Brewer open. We had him open by a couple steps. We overshot him. So we went back to that play in the third drive. We were able to get him for a big touchdown, and Jacob Baker did a very nice job. First of all, we had tremendous pass protection, especially when we were in the T. So we gave Bake plenty of time to get his eyes downfield, and AB had a big one, Max Miller had a big one, and then Spreadshoff had a big one. So those were backbreakers, we know, and that's what we're trying to get our offense when we're in power T. If we can just suck you in by just constantly, hitting you for 3-4-5 here and there, then we can take our calculated shots deep whenever we want to. And I was very happy that the passing game worked out the way it did on Friday. And then when we got the ball back, we had a 2-minute drill type scenario, which we practiced. Coach Solid and our rest of our offensive coaching staff did a great job getting the receivers and shifting to a spread formation. And they were able to hit Schaff on the big home run play. A beautiful ball by Bake, and that was going up 28-8 at half was enormous, because remember, we received the opening kickoff, we gave it right back to them with the fumble. So knowing that they were going to get the opening kick and getting that touchdown right before halftime was really the ball game. I think that kind of gave us that comfortable lead that we never really gave back. And then we started off really hot in the second half, again defensively and offensively. Able to establish Logan. It took us a while to get Logan established. He talked at halftime. He had a bunch of 8, 10, 15-yard runs, but he couldn't quite pop the big home run. And it was really, our tight ends did a great job. Max Miller and Aiden Brewer did tremendous downfield blocking games by them to spring Shaw free on a couple of the big ones. And first time start in the O-line for Indy Wilhelm. We had no idea he was going to be an offensive lineman until about a couple weeks ago, and we're looking a little thin at a certain spot, and we're like, what about Indy? And he's just so coachable that he's picked up everything. So he did really well. Great start by Curtis Gordon. He's played guard since his freshman year, and he's just gotten better and better each year. He did a great job. Merrick Helby did a great job at center. And Michael Bennett played most of the game at right guard. Played some defense too, and Austin Hastings, I think, got a few snaps as a guard, and of course Ransom at tackle. He did what he does. It's just he moves that line forward.
Yeah.
So the O-line did a really good job.
And I think that was maybe a little bit of concern coming into this season because you had lost so many key players on an that offensive line. So,
Yeah.
I thought they
within our power tee, it's a little bit different because I've been running a version of this offense for 10 years, and this is the first time I've ever had two legit vertical threats at tight end. It's hard to find Max Miller and Aiden Brewer, and their backup Luke Etchison's same build. It's just like those guys are very hard to find in high school football that can block, run, catch, and they're smart with all the little wrinkles that we have in. So that's going to be something totally different that we haven't been able to use. So we've kind of always had a good receiving tight end. On the other side, we have to kind of use a big guy because we just can't find that other body that can legitimately block 6A defensive ends. And I think we have it in Max and AB, and they're both only juniors.
Yeah, and the one good thing about Luke Etchison coming out for football this year for first time in a long time, and then Max Miller hasn't been a tight end or a receiver his entire career. That shows you the athletic ability that young man has.
We tell all of our really talented players, we tell, like in our parent meeting too, it's like we have no idea what your son's going to end up, what position he's going to end up at. Sometimes, like I mentioned Curtis Gordon, we're like, you're going to be a guard, and he's been a guard for 4 years. But other times it's usually a kid might play 2 or 3 or 4 positions and flip back from O to D. We want to get who we feel like our top 30 to 35 players. We want to get them to fill out the 2 deep really well. We don't want a really good player to be third string, even though it might be an ideal position fit for them. It's like we want to get you on the field, and so I'm really happy with the way that our kids, when they're asked to do something, it's like, hey, this might be weird, but have you ever thought about offensive tackle? We're kind of thinking of you as a tight end, or we're thinking of you as an outside linebacker, or we're thinking of like Cam Wilson moved from safety to corner, but they all just really buy in. They trust the decisions that we make, and it's really a fun group to coach.
That's good, and of course, we always felt like coming in this season that we had. We were good in the backfield as far as running backs, but I think we showed in that game that we have a very, very talented group, even without Widget. I mean, Widget got the ball one time, okay, and then got hurt. But the group of running backs that you put in there, there's a couple guys on the defensive side that has played running back for you since you've been here. So there's a lot of talent in that backfield.
So Gage Gully's going to get a lot more carries as the season goes on. And we were ready to get him the ball, but this week, but our game plan was, we thought we were pretty deep at halfback, and we'll use Gage full time on safety and kind of go from there. Gage actually did get in. I don't think we gave him the ball, but he was a lead blocker a couple times.
He didn't get the ball. Yeah.
But no, he's a special talent, and he knows our offense inside and out. I mean, he played quarterback for us.
I know.
So he knows. He's another one of those kids that has played everywhere.
And you got several. I mean, you think about it. On the chart, it only shows we have on the roster only shows we have 2 quarterbacks on that list. Okay, but you have several people that, if you have to plug them in a quarterback, they've been there before.
We have Cody Velaz and Logan White, our quarterbacks, and then our freshman quarterback, Aiden Braun. He had a beautiful game in the freshman game. Our freshman really looked outstanding. I think we won 55-12 or something like that on Saturday morning. So it's a really good freshman class with skilled players and with linemen. So we have depth at all positions, and we're constantly obsessing over who's going to be that third guy. I always want to constantly have that depth chart, totally filled out.
It certainly is good to have that problem now, because like we talked last week, when you first came here, some of those depth charts out there on the third line was not always full with somebody, or full backfield with somebody that you knew was going to play on the defensive side a lot. So a lot of good things are happening in this ball game, but it was a great victory and a great experience for the kids. But
it's a great experience. But the best part is, I told Coach Metz, and on the drive home, it was like he was absolutely furious that we gave up some of those touchdowns late in the fourth quarter. As am I. But like, it's going to be the best thing that ever happened to us. Like, if we would have ended up just kind of coasting to a victory and got the senior or you got the first string out, they needed to know that a game is not over till it's over, and we also need to clean up our emotions. We had a couple of really just dumb penalties that you look back at the thought, like, I can't believe that kid did that. He knows better than that. So there's so many coachable and teachable moments that the kids highlighted on Saturday morning film session, and it's just good for us to see that speed. Mountaineers are a very good offensive team, and there's not many quarterbacks going to be quite as good as Luke Girdle. He's
special.
Yeah, he's very special, and they do such a great job of scheming against us. So we're happy that in the long run, a win's a win. Doesn't matter what the score was. We're happy that we were tested for full 4 quarters.
Well, let's talk a little bit on the game coming up this week against Homestead. This is going to be a very good test. Homestead lost their first game, but against Carmel, who's ranked number 8, and Homestead ranked number 12. But as we know, rankings don't really mean much here at the first of the year. It's a lot of times it's on past years anyways, but it was actually a defensive battle up there. So
it was a great game. I mean, we got the film early Saturday morning, and it was a wonderful high school football game. It was old school, a lot of just 3-yard gains, and the clock was rolling. Homestead has a really good front seven. Lots of big, strong, physical guys up there. So that's going to be a challenge for us to move the ball on this team. They really slowed down the Carmel run game. I mean, really slowed it down, and so that got our attention, really early. And on offense, their best player is almost an identical clone to Logan Schaffner, this number 8 for them. So he's a little guy that plays tailback and slot receiver, and just super fast, super quick. I think he's a 4-year starter, if I'm not mistaken, for Homestead, or a 3.5-year starter, something like that. So a lot of the offense runs through him. Quarterback's a sophomore. He's going to be really, really good. He scrambled for a ton. He ran the ball probably 15 or 20 times against Carmel. And to be honest, they should have won the game. They got down to the 1-yard line, and then they snapped the ball over the quarterback's head and lose 20 yards on one sequence. And they were kind of driving to get in the field goal range right at the end. It was 7-7, but they threw a pick 6. Late in the 4th quarter. That's kind of how Carmel won the game. So it was a really evenly matched game, and they are going to be very stout. Their offensive lines are really good. They have some big time guards that are just huge, and they kind of move that pile all game long. And they're a run-heavy team, but they really like this sophomore quarterback, and he's going to be really good because of his wheels, and he gets rid of the ball quick. So
yeah, he carried the ball 19 times.
There you go. Yeah.
So defensively, on Homestead, your thoughts?
Yeah,
of course, with a 14-7 game, and they didn't score in the first quarter or the third quarter. So
they fight. They're scrappy. They're physical. They did not back down. Very impressed with just how hard they play. You can tell they're very well coached. You see the linebackers they're in perfect position. When they see a hole to knife, they knife it really quickly. And so there's some twitch and some size, and definitely some strength, and definitely a well-coached defense.
One of the things that you had told me, and we had discussed on and off the air about the kicking game, and it showed up in the Mount Vernon game, the ability Letourneau has to put that ball in the end zone.
Yeah.
And that's pretty huge, and that's going to be a good weapon for us this season. Like you said, in his earlier years, you had to disguise different things and where to kick the ball, because
especially with number 88 back there for Mount Vernon, they have some really fast guys that we did not want them to catch the ball on the 2-yard line and have a chance to take it to the house. So that helped us tremendously. Jack's big leg, and then just something else that we're getting better at, like just having Logan Schaffner back on punt returns. His awareness of how to get a fair catch. I mean, these are things you take for granted. We let one bounce, and it lost us 15 or 20 yards of field position. It's easier said than done. Just get up there and fair catch it. When that thing's just hovering in the dome, and there's people flying past you left and right, it's hard to execute that. He's really good at that. On the other punts, he saved us, another probably 15, 20 yards of field position each way. So
Yeah,
very
'cause
very
on
proud
one-
of our special teams
Yeah,
overall.
because on one key play on a fair catch, the Mount Vernon defender stopped on a dime, or he'd have ran right over him and got a penalty.
Yeah,
But
there's nothing worse
but
than you see that ball
that's
bounce
it,
backwards.
and that's a distraction for Logan in trying to catch that ball and know that guy's coming full force at him.
There's so many little things in
Yeah,
football people take for
yeah.
granted. Just like we executed our long snaps really well. It takes a lifetime of practice, and Gavin Kenyon did a great job. And then just fielding the extra, holding and getting the ball in the tee. Just like all these little things that we put hours and hours and hours into. We did a very good job on.
Yes, and like you said, this week will be key because of the running back of Homestead being much like Logan, and he also handles the kickoff.
Yeah, that's correct.
So that's going to be a key. If we can put it in the end zone, then we're not going to have to worry about that.
Right, for sure. And with this week, it's going to be hot. I hope that ball travels really, really well in the hot, humid air, but it might not. It might be so humid that it saturates it down a little bit. But I wanted to point out we're so fortunate at Noblesville High School. We don't start school until 8:40 a.m. So with the extreme heat this week, today's Monday, we're going to practice in the mornings all week. So we're going to get really good practices. Hopefully it's only like 75 or 80 degrees because it's going to be tough to get anything done Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday
Yes.
afternoon. So
Yes.
it's just we lucked out. If we would have started school at 7:30 like some
Yeah.
schools, I think Homestead starts at like 7:30 a.m. if somebody told me. So I think we gotta have some discipline, get to bed early because we're asking the boys to come in at 6 a.m. Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday to get some practices in the PD.
Well, you're coming back home too, and nothing's
That's right.
better than
Yeah.
than playing at home
That's right.
and being in familiar sights and should be a big crowd
Last
there.
time we clicked on the lights at Beaver Stadium, we did all right.
Yeah,
That sectional game
certainly.
against Zionsville, so the kids remember that. It's fresh in their memory, and they're very excited to see that big student section rocking for sure.
Well, that's great, Coach. I appreciate you taking time out of your busy schedule and talking with Hamilton County TV. We will be here this weekend, and we'll be broadcasting as all the home games. And if we get a sectional game, we will be here too. So we're excited about starting the season, and right now we're 1-0, Coach.
Very good. Tell Sean Blades I need a witness on that hole-in-one. He was telling me he had a hole-in-one
Okay.
yesterday, but I got to have multiple witnesses.
Okay, yeah. All right. I will tell him that.
All right, thank you.
All right, thanks a lot, Coach. Bye now.